Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back to Railroad Ghost Stories with TTC, the series in which I bring you lovable audio from the pages of Ghost Train, a book collected and rewritten by Tony Reevy. And today we travel to the hot, arid depths of the American Southwest, to the state of Arizona, where we take a look at one of the most peculiar ghost train stories ever. One of which where you would never have expected to hear such a legend come up. But without any more spoilers, let us begin this episode. The Ghost Train of the Arizona Desert. There are many stories of ghost trains chugging down America's tracks. But rare indeed must be stories of ghost trains that run where a real iron and steel locomotive never has. Southeastern Arizona, though, is said to be haunted by such a train. The story is that a prospector was lost on the Alkali Flats north of Arizona's Dragoon Mountains. He'd left Tombstone planning to prospect in Dos Cabezas, 50 miles northeast. Now, his burro was dead, and he was staggering across the flats in the white heat of day. The odds were that he'd die there before sundown, and his bones would bleach in the hot Arizona sun. He must be going crazy. He must, because far off in the distance, he heard the clickety-clack of a train and the chug-chug of a steam locomotive. That's when he'd remembered the ghost train. Men, old miners, Mexicans, had told him about seeing the train on the flats where no train ever really ran. No one knew why it was there. It never stopped, just roared by and vanished in the desert sun. Now the prospector could hear a far-off whistle. He squinted his alkali-dusted eyes. Across the flats, shimmering with a midday mirage of blue water, he saw a black speck coming towards him, getting bigger and bigger. Then it was closing in on him. As it did, he could make out a headlight, a spark of light that looked strangely yellow in the remorseless white glare of the desert sun. Finally, he could make out the whole train, a black engine, blowing a cloud of smoke and steam, pulling 2 yellow coaches. The train was old-fashioned, like something the prospector remembered from Civil War days. The train looked like it was going to run him down, and, sure enough, it began tolling its bell as if to warn him of danger. The prospector tried to move, but he couldn't. He realized with a shock that he was too far gone to move. A victim of sunstroke, unlikely to survive more than another hour or 2 of the fierce heat. Just before it would have hit him, the train stopped. The prospector couldn't believe what happened next. As he passed out from the heat, strong hands seemed to lift him aboard the train. Someone stretched him out in the aisle of one of the passenger cars. The last thing he remembered was begging the people aboard the train for water. Water was what woke him. Water trickling over his face. He opened his eyes. A strange man, wearing a sheriff's badge, was standing over him, holding a pitcher of water. "Man found you 5 miles out of town," the sheriff said. "You wouldn't have lasted another hour in that heat." "Town? What town?" the prospector asked. "Wilcox, Arizona," the sheriff said. "What are you, loco?" Last thing the prospector remembered, he had been 20 or 30 miles from Wilcox. He struggled up on his elbows. "The train," he said. The sheriff looked at him. "Ain't no train around here," he said. The prospector eased himself back down. He thanked his lucky stars that the ghost train had decided to make its only stop ever. For him. The Southern Pacific Railroad came through Arizona in 1880, running right through Wilcox. It even put a branch into Tombstone. But Tombstone old-timers say that the ghost train still runs across the trackless alkali flats where no railroad was ever built. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude one of the most peculiar ghost train stories in the book. A story of where a train ran where no tracks had ever crossed its path. No locomotive had ever billowed smoke, and nowhere where the clickety-clack along the cast-iron rails ever came. I hope you enjoyed this, ladies and gentlemen. I always love reading certain things to people, and things about the paranormal are no different. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I look so forward to seeing you in the next installment of this series. Be sure to take care and have a lovely evening. See you again soon.